Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Accounting for Old Cars, and you join me today with Best, my 1971 Mark II Triumph Vitesse. And today I thought we'd have a little drive through some of the forest areas of East Suffolk. The hope was really to sort of show you the spectacular change of autumn colours, but like everything else related to the climate and seasons in this part of the world, all is not as one might expect for this time of year. But it's a clear day, it's very mild for the middle of October, so let's make the most of the day and see what we can find.
So as you can see, it really doesn't feel like the middle of October here in Suffolk. Some of the trees are beginning to turn colour, some of them are dropping their leaves, but it isn't the riot of autumnal colours that we normally expect to see at this time of October. Still, this route that we're on really skirts the East Suffolk coast, so we're just inland from Orford and the villages of Butley and Chillisford here, and I'm going to take a quick diversion towards Tunstall and go through Tunstall Common. This is a particularly pretty route. The land either side of us is Forestry Commission land. To our left you can see the evidence of these tall pine trees, and the sort of pine forest was really planted at around the beginning of the 20th century, and largely, I understand, to provide pit props for the coal industry. In 1987, the hurricane took out huge swathes of woodland here, and various ecological studies have sort of looked at the results of this sort of mass felling of pine trees, and there has been a move to replace some of the pines with deciduous varieties, so silver birches, for example, grow particularly well here, replanting sort of oak, chestnut trees, that sort of thing, and also clearing areas in the forest to allow for the heathland to return, and with it the sort of kind of biodiversity that is associated with those sort of open spaces, particularly among sort of insects, birds, and even reptiles. But it's a very popular spot with walkers, obviously people with dogs coming to the forest, and there are lots of tracks here which you can use for sort of off-road cycling. But it is spectacularly beautiful. This is one of my favourite little test routes. It's a nice road, it's a 60-mile-an-hour limit, although you have to watch out for wildlife. The roads tend to be pretty empty, particularly midweek like today. Nice undulating bends. Kind of road that this car was made for, really. former USAF base of Bentwaters. One of my earlier videos gave a little tour of the base and explained a little bit of the history of the USAF here in Suffolk, and in particular with this base, their last squadrons of A-10 tank busters, which departed in about 1992. The airfield itself has now become a sort of large industrial hub, or I should say a hub of industrial units. It is very light soil, and so the sort of agriculture here tends to be focused around vegetables. We've got asparagus growing off to our left, and rearing pigs. And of course the pigs come in, they condition the soil, improve its quality, and this then allows a sort of cycle of growing vegetables. Onions, for example, very popular crop here. So the pigs are all off to our right. This area we're coming to now is the edge of Rendlesham Forest, and over to our right is the former USAF base of RAF Woodbridge, and the runway and infrastructure there I think have been mothballed rather than abandoned. But the forest here is absolutely stunning. Again, we're a bit early, it seems, to really see the change to autumn colours. But I fear that the next opportunity I get, it'll probably be too wet or cold to be able to do this with the roof down. So I thought we'd take advantage of the mild weather today and have a look. But again, this is a great driving road. The biggest hazard on these roads, apart from the wildlife, that you have to be particularly wary of at sort of dawn and dusk, are actually the large agricultural vehicles and lorries. And because of the low overhanging branches, they tend to be forced into the middle of the road, particularly on a bend. So you can sometimes come round a corner and suddenly be faced with a huge vehicle on the wrong side of the road, which is disconcerting to say the least. Slight change of pace now, and this is one of Suffolk's quiet lanes, which basically means that motorists are expected to share the road with walkers and equestrians and cyclists. It's a very useful scheme because it provides a kind of safe, recognised space, particularly for people who ride horses. And again, as you can see, it allows walkers the freedom to sort of walk in the middle of the road in the sort of fairly safe assumption that no one's going to be bombing along at 60. I feel I may be in Robert Frost's poem, The Road Less Travelled. Coming past Buckley Mill here. So the river's just behind us, and this is just one example of Suffolk's many water mills. You can see we've got sort of reeds and reed beds either side. We're quite low here, so this area is prone to flooding. And so most of the land here is sort of old water meadows, which are predominantly sort of only useful really for grazing. The road I was planning to take us on, I can see it's been closed, so we're going to make a quick diversion through Orford. As you can see, it's a fantastic little harbour, a real haven for yachtsmen, and for anyone who's really interested in exploring the estuary, the boat, the Lady Florence, is a fine little restaurant which provides river cruises up and down the estuary. It's a good way to actually see a bit this sort of wild bit of the Suffolk coast. going through the market square at the moment, and what I'll do is I'll turn the car around so you can get a glimpse of Orford's famous castle. So the castle keep is just ahead of us. And if you get the chance, this is obviously sort of looked after by English Heritage, but if you get the chance, come and visit, because the views from the top of the castle are just spectacular, and it's a good way to understand the strategic importance of this bit of coastline. It's a wonderful farmhouse here with its Dutch gables. It's a fantastic example of architecture, and you contrast with the sort of more primitive thatch cottage. So again, we're back into one of these narrow single file Suffolk lanes. The river and the sea are off to my right, and again, this is a popular route for cyclists. It's a really good way to get around sort of off the main roads. We'll let the horse go past us. Morning! Again, we've got more examples of pig farming here, because the poor quality of the soil just doesn't support anything else, unless you can get the pigs to recondition the soil, which is obviously what they're doing. So it's a sort of win-win, really. So this is a wonderful part of the world just to come, you know, on a day like today and just reflect actually. So much has happened over the last few days in the world at large, and there seems to be so much at stake and so much human misery. And whatever I see on the internet or in newspapers or on television, there are a lot of people who have an awful lot to say about things. I sort of wonder whether there oughtn't to be a bit more space for people to listen and perhaps to reflect. I think listening is good sometimes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this outing today with me and Bess, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.